Hello again, Michael here with another exciting video from Old Man Having Adventures. It's time for a story. This story I like to call the 17-foot green hat. It takes place in the small farming community of Oconto Falls, Wisconsin. One summer, I decided that I wanted to canoe the entire length of the Oconto River. We started at the last dam and went down to Lake Michigan. That was the first trip. The second trip was going to be from Oconto Falls down to the last dam, or at least that reservoir there. So we took the canoe, got ready. My friend Jim and I were ready to go. It was the first day of fishing season. We were going to get the canoe in the water and do some fishing and some paddling and just have a really good day. Well, what we ended up doing was my wife took us in the canoe up to Oconto Falls. We parked right near the water, and Jim and I got the canoe off and got all the gear in the canoe, and we launched it and waved goodbye to my wife. She then was driving back to Green Bay where we lived. So Jim and I were in the canoe and we paddled downstream a little bit, and we found that we were in a reservoir. There was a dam downstream, and the dam was right in the same place as the falls. So we weren't going to paddle. What we did was we pulled over to the far bank, hid the canoe in some brush, tied it up good, and then we went for a walk on the far side of the reservoir. What we found was there was no way to get down to the river below that dam on that side. So we came back and we crossed a little bridge to the near side of the reservoir, and we started walking, went to a street and started walking downstream a bit. We got down a block or two, and there was a parking lot in an open lot. So we went into the parking lot and looked, and sure enough, there was the river. But beside the river was about a 12-foot high cliff. So we looked at the situation and decided that what we could do is get the canoe and the gear over there, lower the canoe and the gear on ropes, one person at the top and one at the bottom. Then we could get the canoe in the water and continue our day. The one problem remaining was that the canoe, or the water right there, was much faster than what we were comfortable dealing with. But that was the only option we thought we had, so we decided to go with it. We walked back, went across the little bridge and got the canoe. I put it up on my shoulders, and Jim carried as much gear as he could, and we take off across the bridge. Now, this bridge is right by downtown Oconto Falls. Oconto Falls, being a small farming community and it being a Saturday midday, there were a lot of farmers in the town. We got honks and comments and just all sorts of things because people thought it was funny. There I was walking through downtown Oconto Falls on a Saturday with a 17-foot green hat. So we continue on, and of course every little bit I got to set the canoe down because I didn't have any pads and my shoulders were hurting a lot. But we were making it. We were, I don't know, 100 yards or so from the parking lot, when a gentleman pulled up. He was driving a pickup. He motioned us over to his truck and he asked us what we were doing. So we explained the situation to him, and of course he got a bit of a kick out of it. But we told him where we were thinking of putting in. He said, no, that's not a good idea. Said, that's not a very good place at all, but I know a really good place. It's a little further downstream, and there's a sledding hill. I can drop you off at the top of the sledding hill. You go down, and then it's just a short ways to the river. So knowing he's a local, we decided to trust his judgment on that. He took us there, and sure enough, there was a sledding hill. Well, there were two ways to get down off of the hill. One was a nice, gentle sledding slope. The other was basically kamikaze. There's no way we could carry that canoe down there. Actually, we didn't carry it down the gentle slope either. We slid it down the gentle slope. And that way we had all our gear inside it. We got to the bottom and we're looking at the situation, and there's a golf course. We're right on the edge of a golf course. And there's a bunch of trees just to the left, and we were talking about whether to go around or through, and I was thinking around, but there comes a golf cart with two people in it. The golf course supervisor was there, and he was not amused with two men and a canoe on his golf course. So we talked with him and explained the situation, and although he was a little bit amused, he was not amused at having somebody like us traipsing across his golf course. So he had Jim and all the gear get on the golf cart and told me to pick the canoe up and go through the wooded area because that was going to be the shortest way to the river. And I took off in the woods just to discover it was not a wooded area, it was a swamp. And I'm wading up to my ankles in the mud and muck, and it is disgusting, but I made it through. When we got on the other side, we're on the main part of the golf course, and we've got maybe a quarter mile to go to get to the water. So the guy's taking Jim and the gear, and I'm carrying the canoe. And once more, I had to set it down a few times because my shoulders were hurting so much by then. But we did make it. We sat down and we had our lunch there on the banks of the river, and then we got in the canoe and we started paddling down. Well, that was all well and good, except we wanted to do some fishing, and it was getting a little late in the day. But we tried fishing a little bit and not even a nibble, just nothing. So we finished our paddle, got down to the lake, went across the lake, and it was a little rough, but we made it just fine. And we got up on the bank there, pulled the canoe out of the water, and sat there and waited for my wife to come pick us up. After a while, she did come, and we got in the car, got everything loaded up, and went back to Green Bay. And that was the story of the 17-foot green hat. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe.